Andrew Yang, thanks for doing this, man. I am so proud to be a friend and proud of you. Like, you're the most dynamic person I know.
Oh, are you kidding me? Shit, man. I mean, you'd run my ass into the ground 5 ways on Sunday. So right back at you. Congratulations on the book. I know a lot of people have been waiting to read it.
Thank you, brother. And about the running, if I had your money, I wouldn't have to run so much.
Tell my wife that. That's why I'm slowing down. I'm sluggish.
You are the furthest thing from sluggish. You're all in on Noble Mobile, which we'll come back to. But I really want to start with the presidential campaign, which is what most people know you about outside of like the tech world. And I'm just curious, like, what the hell convinced you that you could run for president? Like, this is what I love about you. It's so audacious. You're like, yeah, I'm going to run for president. Like, you won't maybe start with like local mayor, senator, state rep. Nope. I want to be the president.
Yes. And that's why this is from the White House and I'm president today. Now, part of it, Ken, was I met a couple of the former presidents, George W. Bush, Barack Obama. Have you met any of these characters?
Unfortunately, no. But I have huge admiration for the office. And like, I just think it's what's happening the last several cycles of like people publicly dumping on the president. It's sad to me because I'm like, dude, they're our leader, whether you like it or not. It's like being on the Olympic hockey team and you don't like the captain. So you're like, I hate this team. Then get off of it.
I'm with you that the diminution of respect for the office is not a good thing. But I met Barack Obama multiple times when he was president, met George W. Bush, met Bill Clinton. And when I met them, I did not come away thinking, wow, these guys are some otherworldly, superhumans. I was like, oh, these guys are just like you and me. And we're better for worse. So when you ask what got me to run for president, one was a meeting governors, senators, presidents, et cetera, and just being like, okay, and you've had this experience, I know, where you've met people, soldiers, athletes, fighters, different people, and they have like a vibe or an energy to them. CEOs, entrepreneurs very often. These political types do too. And it did not make me think, they're somehow better than me in various respects. This was particularly true. I remember watching the 2016 presidential debates where I was watching Trump stomp on everyone, honestly.
Yeah. And oh my God, what a drubbing. I mean, he trounced them.
And
really
I looked
exposed some of the weaknesses.
Yes. And I looked up and saw that field and was like, oh man, like I felt like I was better than the vast majority of them. Part of it too, and this is a distinction between you and me maybe, but I also went to fancy schools with some of these characters. And so I definitely did not think, they're somehow better or smarter than you or me. They're really not. I don't know if that message is welcome.
No, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of times people will be like, ask me, how did you connect with these people? I said, the first thing that I was not doing was trying to connect with people like meeting you. It's an honor for me to meet you. I never thought like, I'm going to meet Andrew Yang. I'm like doing the best that I can in my life. And we cross paths and I'm like, I love this guy. He's got great energy. Even if we don't agree on everything politically, I still love and respect everything about what you're doing. It's like, I have huge respect. And like you said, you went to fancy schools. I think sometimes that's like almost frowned upon. Like, oh, he had everything handed to him. Like, no, I wish that I could be so successful that my kids could go to fancy schools. That's the American dream. But then when we see someone experiencing the American dream, we're like, F them. They had it easy. Like, your parents did a good job and created that life for you. Like, it's something to be proud of. But a lot of times it comes with a negative connotation.
Well, I am Asian, so definitely my parents were like, you better get into good schools. I appreciate that perspective, Ken, but I will say that I think the reverse is true too, where I grew up in a town in upstate New York with Italian-American kids whose dads were contractors and police officers and the rest of it. And maybe it's because I was born in the 70s and like there were fewer TV networks or whatnot. But it felt like we were all in it together. Yeah. You know what I mean? And when I was like a skinny Chinese American kid, I just wanted to be picked for the teams and shit like that. You know what I mean? So like when I was growing up, it was like, I'm trying to fit in. And so that spirit never left me. It's like, I think one of the problems in this country is that people who maybe attend certain schools or do certain jobs think that they're better than other people. And like, I just never had that sense.
Yeah, but I think that personality type doesn't necessarily happen at elite schools or bad schools like that. If you take a cross section of all the schools, you'll get the same personality types. You'll get overachievers. You'll get idiots.
You get those irritating guys no matter what.
And the point I was going to make about meeting all these people and having these different relationships, like with The Rock left me a voice memo once on Instagram. It's like, to your point, I say this to people all the time. We're all the same.
Yeah.
I had said to someone, I'll talk to anyone who buys my book. I've got like 500 people. Like, when can we talk? And I'm like, I'm shocked people want to talk to me. And I asked one guy, out of curiosity, what do you want to talk about? He's like, you're an inspiration for me and blah, blah. And I was like, man, I'm oblivious. I don't see myself the way maybe other people see me. So I don't know if you experience that where you're like, people, especially after running for president, people come up to you like, Andrew, let me get a picture. And it's a little bit like, you know who I am? Do you ever experience that of like, whoa?
Dude, my book is called Hey Yang, Where's My $1,000? Trying to relate that experience because I've gotten that. The alternate title was Hey, Am I Racist or Are You Andrew Yang?
That would have been a good one.
Which I've also gotten. So people come up to me on the street all the time, mainly with like excitement and happiness. And what's funny is that even though it's happened to me now thousands and thousands of times, to your point, each time I'm surprised. Yeah. You know, I mean, like, oh shit, you recognize me? Like, dope. Yeah, sure, happy to.
It's flattering, but it's also sometimes like overwhelming where I'm like, yeah, I can't believe like someone will be like, hey, you were on my flight. I didn't want to interrupt you. I'm like, why? You should have said hello.
That's a little bit of a thing when like you realize that people noticed you without doing anything and you thought you were unnoticed.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. A lot.
That's a thing.
The other thing I want to say is you mentioned about growing up in the 70s. I was born in 71, growing up in inner city Boston. And like we were in a segregated neighborhood. Like we were in like white, Irish, Catholic, and Italian. But I mean, I had a couple black kids that like were in our circles, but it was like, wouldn't be uncommon for like people to be throwing around the N-word. It was like segregated. And it was like, when I was really young is when they had the desegregation and forced the busing, which was insane. They were forcing black kids into white neighborhoods just to go to school and vice versa. And it was just like, even as a little kid, I'm like, why do I care if a black kid comes to school here? It was crazy. But I always have great, I don't know if empathy is the right word, but respect for anyone that grew up in those times. Because like kids that are growing up now that might be Chinese, Indian, Black, Hispanic, they don't know the struggles of a Chinese kid in the 70s in a white neighborhood. Like the bullying was real. This was real racism, right? So when I meet people like you that have gone through that and come out like so successful, I'm like, kudos to that guy. The kids today will never appreciate the level of bullying and horrible behavior from some people back in the 70s and even earlier.
I have a chapter on that in the book about all sorts of things that happened to me in grade school. And I just see it as part of the culture at that time. And, you know, it does toughen you up. Honestly.
100%.
Like I look at my kids today and I'm just like shaking my head. And by the way, I'm like trying to get a read around what their experience is like in terms of being Asian today. And it's a totally different world.
It's like we're on a different planet. If you made a disparaging comment about someone's race now, like you might be kicked out of school. Maybe. Back then, it was like, I wouldn't be surprised if the teachers were doing it. It was crazy.
This is one thing I'm actually curious about, Ken, because we just parachuted into a random school in Iowa or Montana or Nebraska, is it like when you and I grew up still, or are they?
No,
because I just don't know. I'm not
chance.
Sure.
There was like, I thought it was much more hostile and aggressive when I was a kid. Now it's like, if you look at someone sideways, like here's an example. So we moved from, I lived in New York. I grew up in Boston, lived in New York 20 years, then lived in LA for 5 years. And I had 4 kids and they were really like kind of little kids in LA. And then we moved to Nashville and my daughter is adopted. She's Ethiopian. And for a long time, she really struggled with not being adopted, just being different. She didn't like being different. And you can understand, but never ever a hint of any kind of racism. But when the kids are little, I'm like, listen, telling my boys like, hey, if someone's not being nice to you, issues would come up. If someone's not being nice to you in this house, we're going to ask them nicely 3 times. Hey, please stop doing that. Please stop doing this. And I'm like, after the third time, crack them if you have to. My wife is like looking at me like I'm crazy. And my oldest son was like, well, what if someone puts their hands on you? I said, oh, after that, there's no talking. As soon as someone puts your hands on you, they're trying to hurt you. You're not having a fight. It's not a contest like a fair sports thing. They're trying to hurt you. Like, you need to be aggressive. And of course, my wife pulls me aside and is like, you realize we live in Brentwood, Tennessee. There hasn't been a fight here since the 70s. No one's having fights in school. And I was like, in my school, it wouldn't be uncommon to see a fight every single day.
Yeah.
And so that's a huge difference right there. The level of oversight. I mean, obviously you see all the shit on the internet where kids are getting picked on and bullied, and those incidents get highlighted. But for the most part, I feel like this is like, we are in the Fabergé egg era where everyone's a Fabergé egg, including their feelings. And I always tell my kids, if someone hurt your feelings, you're responsible for your feelings. I don't owe you anything. Like, if someone's just hurting your feelings to be rude, okay, then that's a different thing. But if you get offended or your feelings are hurt from someone else's opinions or way of life, like, deal with it. They're not responsible. You're responsible for your own feelings. And that's a big difference that I've seen now, is like, the school wants to be responsible for everyone's feelings. Hey guys, want to talk to you quickly about Ketone IQ, my favorite energy source. Ketone IQ, if you don't know, is a fast-acting source of energy. I prefer it with the caffeine. It's like a double whammy. It provides fast-acting energy, but doesn't give you the same crash like caffeine or the jitters. This stuff is used by the majority of the pro peloton at the Tour of France. And listen, if it didn't work and wasn't backed by science, those guys wouldn't use it. I've been loving this stuff. I've been taking it for the last couple of years. I'm running like 70 to 80 miles a week at 54 years old, and every single one of my runs is fueled by Ketone IQ. Give them a shot. Go to ketone.com. Use the promo code RIDEOUT to save some money. Let me know what you think. I think you're going to love it. Boom.
Yeah, I'm with you, where if kids learn to take responsibility for how they react, then that's the best kind of training they can get. And one of the problems in American life, in my opinion now, is that we hold administrators or teachers responsible for things that, in my opinion, are out of their control.
100%.
Yeah. And then we wonder, you get pissed off, you get frustrated. It's like, oh, they didn't do this or that. Maybe part of it's that I've run businesses, and you kind of know what a business can and can't do. You kind of know what a teacher can and can't do, or a principal. I mean, we often, by the way, this is true in politics too. I know it's like we're joking because, we're doing this in New York City, and whenever there's like a giant pile of snow, you can like make a joke, be like, oh, fucking Zoran, fucking mayor, what's with the snow? It's like, oh, like he's got like magic powers to whisk away snow. So it's like, we do that in politics all the time. Like, the new team takes power, and then all of a sudden things are their fault. And part of me is like, dude, they're still trying to find like the office equipment, they just like moved into this freaking place, and then you were like, oh, like
and he has no political experience, so he's going to have team around him that he basically has no choice in a lot of cases. He can pick who it is, but like, he's being advised by people that have to have experience. And the truth is, anyone that's worked in the system, like, nothing seems to work efficiently. Like, the subways run and stuff, but it seems like if you ran your business the way some of these municipalities run the municipality would be bankrupt in 12 months.
Well, so some numbers for you that I think your audience will enjoy in particular, and this will be fun. What is the approval rating of U.S. Congress, do you think, right now?
If it's above 0, I would be shocked, because the childishness and the lockdowns and the infighting is embarrassing. They should not be allowed to leave that friggin' chamber until things are sorted to a certain extent. The fact that they like take these recesses and on huge outstanding issues, president can't get people nominated for either party.
Yeah, totally.
It's so disheartening. It's
close to 0. It's 15%, 1.5.
Yeah.
Very, very low. What do you think the reelection rate is for incumbent members of Congress?
It's got to be astronomical, 99%.
It's like 94%. So you have 15% approval, 94% reelection. And that's why everyone's so ticked off. You're looking up being like, okay, why won't things change? But what they've done is they've created a system where our happiness, what we want, is more or less irrelevant in 90% of these races.
Not only that, they're basically committing essentially crimes right in front of us with insider trading. There's no shame in it at all. It's like,
no shame.
How can you can just look at their trades and you're like, are we?
People have made killings off just following their trades. You know, they're like entire,
buddy,
like,
I'm in
like
one of
investing strategies.
I'm in one of them, the Pelosi tracker on unusual whales. I have some small money tied to these trackers, and I don't even need to know what the stock is. I'm like, listen,
Shout out to Unusual Whales. They do
Yes.
good work.
These people, some of these, to your point, when you meet them, you're like, there's nothing dynamic going on here.
No.
If I'm being honest, I view them as puppets to the lobbyists. So they're like owned by, people have joked like they should wear a NASCAR shirt with all their sponsors on it because it's the truth. And you see them voting for things that clearly go against the people's interest, but without the lobby, they don't get reelected. It's all money, right? I mean, from running for president, did you run up against that of like, how am I ever going to raise enough money to make a dent? And part two, when you were running, did you in your mind think, okay, I'm not going to win, but I could get an important cabinet job if I build enough momentum that my voters would carry weight, and maybe I could be some big secretary and then work my way up?
Yeah. If you remember the centerpiece of my campaign, it was that AI was going to come and take the jobs and we should just start distributing buying power quickly and broadly, which, by the way, is aging phenomenally well. I don't know if you've seen what's going on with AI.
No, I don't live under a rock, Andrew. I know what's going on.
So I wanted to be the Paul Revere of AI and automation, saying, the robots are coming, essentially. The magical man from the future. Oh yeah, they're here now. And so that was the mission. I didn't think I was going to wind up president on the first try. I wanted to mainstream solutions, what I call the freedom dividend, which was giving everyone money, which, in my mind is more and more common sense and inevitable, because AI is going to shred millions and millions of white collar jobs. It's going to make a college degree useless in a lot of contexts.
They almost are now. I mean, unless you're studying engineering, medicine, law, something very specific. If you're studying like me, sociology, like save the money.
Dude, it gets even worse where I'm friends with partners in law firms.
Yep.
And they're having AI write their legal briefs and said, if I gave a junior associate this task, would have taken them days. They would have done a worse job. I give it to the models. They give it to 3 models.
Yep.
They have them each take a crack. They're done in 15 minutes. And then they just take the best pieces of each, conform. The whole process takes them 90 minutes. And so then they're thinking, why do I need to hire some law school grad and pay them 6 figures to learn on my dime? So it's rough, and it's just going to get much, much rougher.
Yeah. And the other thing that's crazy is like, who's writing the code for these AI models? Like I said, I think because of the disapproval rating or the low approval rating of our elected officials, we're getting this whipsaw effect where you're getting an extreme, like, I don't care what your political leanings are. You get an extreme, like what they would describe Trump as an extreme right-wing, like maniac. I don't agree with that. But then you could also get this, like Gavin Newsom is like a candidate. Like if he was running on his record in California, you'd be like, I wouldn't hire this guy to like answer the phones. Nothing seems to be going right there. It's mass exodus. Everything seems to be not working. And because of this, you get, okay, we got to get Trump out. We're going to vote for an extreme, like left wing. Okay, he's not good. Who's the next one? We can get that is extreme on the other side. We're not getting any centrists that have like common sense solutions that can bring anyone together. And then the whole agenda of the opposing party, whoever loses, is to just not focus on policy and topics, but to tear the other guy down. All the effort is in tearing the other candidate down.
Yeah, what I say is we're playing you lose, or the parties are playing you lose, I lose, you lose, I lose.
Yep.
While we're all collectively doing the losing, we're all looking up being like, what the hell's going on? Like, what are you guys doing?
Do you think there's a scenario where someone could run like yourself who just comes in as like, listen, I'm an independent. The whole idea of 2 parties is crazy. What if I'm like, listen, I agree with some of the policies here, and I agree with some of these policies, but at the end of the day, we have to run this like a business to a certain extent. We can't lose money. And if we just keep printing money, we're only hurting ourselves. And that's the part that most people don't realize.
Well, Ken, I 100% think that there's a wide open lane for someone, particularly as about half of Americans now say we're independent. The approval rating of both parties is record low. The Democrats are down to, I'm a numbers guy, as you can tell, but the Democratic approval rating is down to 29%, lowest in generations. Republicans, not much better. It's 32%. So you have this freaking wellspring of tens of millions of Americans who are fed up. 2/3 don't think either party represents them. So I think someone is going to take that opportunity, and I probably know them, or maybe even like look at them in the mirror occasionally, because
I guess that's what I'm getting at is like, I hope that you look at this and realize like someone with common sense who can get up and be like, listen, don't ask me to badmouth anyone else. I'm only focusing on what I can do. But with the advent of Trump, you have this environment where the more you can zing and burn and dump on the other person, it's like a win. Whereas, like, you remember, was it Barack Obama? Who was he debating where it was like super civil? Was it Romney? And they were just completely like super kind to each other, but getting their points across. I was like, I don't care what you think about the politicians or about the parties, but can't we get back to a time, or can we get back to a time where people are like, listen, agree to disagree respectfully. Here's what I think we should be doing.
Yeah, and I think that's one reason why you have to get beyond the blue versus red dichotomy, because if you look at the Democratic base, they want to exact revenge essentially on Trump and his folks. And look, in my case, I mean, I have always thought that Trump was kind of an accelerant to the like dysfunction of various institutions. I don't blame people who voted for him, though, because if you look at the choices at that point, I mean, you had Joe Biden who royally screwed up on the border and was not having a
But I don't think he
primary for
screwed up. It
himself.
felt intentional.
Oh, yeah, sure. Like mismanaged.
Yeah.
The border, and then Kamala. And so if you have this two-sided choice, like I don't blame anyone for choosing really either side. What we need is more than two choices. And then you'd have, and by the way, I mean, everyone listening to this, like no one would have put those two as like the top two choices, to run a business or the country. There are all sorts of very, very patriotic, remarkable folks that you and I know that, by the way, when I talk to business leaders, I joke, it's like, hey, I don't even know you guys that well. I would choose you to run this.
Don't you think that? I always think, why don't we hire a president like where we have to actually recruit someone like a really successful business leader? The guy at Microsoft is impressive. I mean, take the political leanings out of it. Like, I don't care which party, but someone who's like run something super successful, or someone who's built something, someone like yourself that's built something and has experience managing people and being responsible for a budget, not a politician whose only job has been in politics. What do you know about the world? And they talk about what their constituents want. These people live in like a bubble. They're literally trading stocks on inside information and think it's the norm. They're so detached from real life.
You know, one of my top draft picks for this is Mark Cuban, who I'm friends with.
Love Mark Cuban. I don't agree with everything he says, but I appreciate his hustle and his hey, he believes what he believes, and I can get behind that.
Yeah, he's a builder. He started a company called Cost Plus Drugs.
One of the greatest companies ever. I love it.
Totally. And
how everyone doesn't use it is like the greatest mystery in the world.
Yes. If you want your drugs, go to Cost Plus Drugs. But Mark saw that Americans were getting screwed and gouged on prescription drugs, and then thought, you know what, I can build a business that improves that. His business was actually an inspiration for Noble Mobile. Because I thought, well, shoot, what Mark's doing is genius. And is there anything else that all Americans spend money on that we can get them a better value on? Because when you look at Americans today, and I came to fame in 2020 saying robots are coming, but also saying like we have to make the economy work better for people. You look at our costs, they all keep creeping up and up in a way that maybe our paychecks aren't, and it's making us more and more frustrated and angry. So what Mark's doing is trying to get the cost down, and with Noble Mobile, and people, I'd love to unpack the math, because people would be like, oh, wireless is not that big a deal. The average American is spending $83 a month on their wireless bill. I was spending twice that. I was spending like $150 on Verizon. Same. Yeah, same, right? And everyone listening to this again is like, oh, that's just what it costs, and it's not that big a deal. The average European is spending $35 a month for the same stuff, by the way. And so if you have a difference of even $50 a month, times 12 is $600. Times the whatever 40 years you're going to be a customer, that'd be 24,000. Then you put an interest rate on that and compound that. You're looking at $40,000 to $50,000. You're essentially giving Verizon a car, a nice one too, or a down payment on a house over your time as their customer. So when I looked at this math, the total spend, by the way, the extra wireless spend is $100 billion a year is what Americans are spending on our wireless versus Europeans or some other developed country. And of that $100 billion, $11 billion is going to Verizon in shareholder dividends. $7 billion is going to AT&T in shareholder dividends. Talk about the stock trading and the rest of it. So you have these megacorps extracting billions of dollars from the American population, giving it to shareholders. It's better to be a shareholder than a customer of these outfits.
100%.
And so then I looked at this picture and said, okay, can I do what Mark did and get Americans a better deal? And so I went to Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile and said, hey guys, I'm trying to get Americans a better deal. Like, do you guys want to work something out? And the carrier that wanted to work something out was T-Mobile. I was just in Seattle last week meeting with the executive team there. And so we licensed T-Mobile's network for Noble Mobile, and we can cut the average American's wireless bill in half to about $41, $42 a month for truly unlimited. You can go hog wild. And Ken, let me say that I'm a heavy phone user. I use my phone up the wazoo. The most I can pay is $50, so I'm already saving $100 a month relative to Verizon individually. But if I don't use all of the data in a given month, then Noble will send me the cash back as a reward. So not only can we save the average American money, we also give you a reward for using less screen time. And I don't know if you and I have gotten into this, but most Americans now realize that our phones are making us a little crazy. They make us feel more angry.
I've got a whole rant on this when you're done.
So Noble reduces the average user screen time by 17%, which is, like something. And it lowers your phone bill by on average, $40 or $50 a month. So we've been growing like mad, and it's fun to be able to solve a problem that every American feels, even if most of us haven't woken up to it yet. Mm-hmm. The same way we've woken up to, for example, cable companies. Like we all turn on cable and cut the cord.
Cut them. I got rid of them. Actually, because of you, I got rid of AT&T and everything. And full disclosure, I met you. You told me about Noble Mobile, what we're talking about right now. And I was like, I want to invest. So I'm an investor in Noble Mobile purely because I love the mission. I transferred my phone number just so I don't want this to sound like an ad, but it's the truth, which is why I want to talk to you about. It's like same with Cuban, such a great idea. I can't believe it took this long for someone to do this. I had AT&T. I was paying $100 a month for unlimited data. If I went to Europe, it was $10 a day. But I didn't get refunded for the domestic data I wasn't using. I just got an extra $10 in Europe or wherever I was in the world, which at the time I was like, what a great deal. I'm here for a week. Okay, extra 70. So now my bill's $170 a month. I didn't think anything of it. And to your point, I use my phone a ton. I travel a lot. Never really think to connect it to Wi-Fi because I'm on unlimited data. When I switched to Noble Mobile, first of all, it took me I would say honestly 7 minutes, and my bill went to fixed bill at $50, and the first month I got $19 back. And I'm a power user of my phone. I don't even look at the screen time because I don't want to get stressed out. It's like looking at my Whoop sleep data when I know I didn't sleep good. I'm like, I'm not going to look. It's going to make me feel even worse.
Yeah.
So not only did I have my phone, I have 6 people in my house. I have a wife and 4 kids. And while to your point about the phones making you crazy, we have just recently told the kids, you're not using the phone for anything other than you can sign it out during, they take it to school so that we can reach them, but we brick the phone with this device called Brick, and it shuts everything except the phone and the text. And I'm telling you, it makes a difference in their personality, their demeanor. If my kids are allowed to use this on the weekend, let's say 30 minutes, I tell my 12-year-old son, all right, buddy, time's up on the iPad. This is a mild-mannered, nice kid. A couple times he just gets up and throws the iPad on the ground. I'm like, I will throw you out the effing window. Don't you ever, you're not using but the point is that he gets so triggered. It's literally like taking crack from a crack addict.
Yeah.
If he doesn't get on it, this doesn't happen. If I tell him no, he doesn't act crazy. If I give it to him and then take it back, even if we have a predetermined time limit, it's seriously a psychological issue. So I've cut everyone in the house. So 6 people. My wife had like some family plan for like $300, $350 on AT&T, all you can use for all the phones. Now everyone in the house has Noble Mobile. It's $300 fixed. And I told the kids, whatever you save on your phone, that's your allowance. So if you save $20, and I said, you can also save by being on Wi-Fi and not using data. So when you're in the house, it automatically connects. So what are the chances that they're streaming when they're out? They're
really low.
10 to 15 years old. So they're all getting $20 or $30 a month in dividends from Noble Mobile. And I'm telling you, it's been a game changer. And again, I don't want this to sound like a giant ad, but it is. Like, this is like a real game changer and like the most common sense thing. And what I think and hope happens is eventually Starlink provides cell to satellite service, acquires Noble Mobile and all their subscribers, and we're the first people on the Starlink network, because that's what's next. Like, these wireless companies, I think, are in a real jam. No one's going to get satellites up there like Starlink.
Yeah, these wireless companies, I now study the business pretty closely, and they're having a hard time growing because everyone has a connection. And by the way, so if you were a company, let's say you're a publicly traded company and you have to show growth, what are you going to do? You're going to raise prices.
Of course.
So there was like this Verizon promo recently where they were like, hey, join now and we'll fix your price for 2 years, which is like, wait a minute. That means if I don't join now, you're going to raise my prices?
God forbid they look at cost cutting or creating efficiencies internally. They're just like, how do we gouge them? That's what everyone's doing. There was some study recently came out. It was like DoorDash. I don't want to say DoorDash, but one of those delivery services, and I don't remember which.
Dude, my Uber bill just freaking shot up. Like, it used to be like, get in a car and be like, yeah, no big deal, $12 or whatever. And all of a sudden I'm like, wait, what's going on?
But this is true. So one of the companies, they got internal documents were leaked where they're like, yeah, add the for $5 extra, we'll expedite. And it didn't do anything. It was just like a
psychological. Yeah.
But are you like, these are the people that we're trusting? It felt like a political thing where I'm like, this is what they think of us. They think we're nitwits. They're like, these food delivery systems are just like, charge them extra, tell them we're hustling. And they'd be like, yeah, that was the hustle price. You know what I mean? It was the same exact thing.
Yeah, I'm important. I'm special. Hustle. Yeah. $5.
Hey guys, want to tell you quickly about Row Nutrition's NAD+, one of the greatest energy sources I've ever tried. NAD+, if you don't know, is the energy source for mitochondria. Mitochondria has been called the fuel cells of the body. So their function is critically important, and without NAD+, nothing happens. Prior to discovering Row Nutrition's liposomal NAD+, I only knew of NAD+ to be delivered via injection, and honestly, that's a bit of a pain in the neck and cost prohibitive. Row Nutrition has taken the stress out of the delivery system and made it cost effective. This stuff is awesome. I've been taking it for over a year. I'm running about 70 to 80 miles a week at 54 years old. And yeah, NAD Plus keeps me going. I take it every single day, first thing in the morning. Highly recommend it. Go to rownutrition.com. Use the promo code RIDEOUT to save some money. Again, rownutrition.com. Use the promo code RIDEOUT. Boom.
I want to dig into something you said, because the same thing happened to me. You go abroad on Verizon or AT&T, they charge you $10 or $12 a day. It costs them only $2 to put you on a foreign carrier's network for that day. So why are they charging you 10 or 12? Nobody knows.
Because they have dividends to pay and shareholders to impress,
and
so
because
they can keep their $50 million CEO role.
Yes, and so we're kind of chumps. So we're like, oh, $10 a day, whatever.
Doesn't sound that bad.
It doesn't sound that bad, but then it adds up. And then, like you said, your home bill stays the same. So, when I did that, my phone bill was literally, and don't judge me, everyone, but it was like, almost $400. Yeah. And I've talked to families that had multiple lines where it was even higher. And so we're just trying to apply common sense business practices where it's like, wait, why would I charge like $12 if I'm paying $2? Things like that. And we can rationalize an industry that we all use every day. It's a little bit like oxygen, I joke, because, but we have we're just overpaying for a commodity.
Well, think about it. Name another product that every single person that you know, I've never met someone who doesn't have a phone. That means every single person. So you were using cost plus drugs. What if I'm healthy and I don't use prescription drugs? Doesn't matter who you are. You use a phone. I promise you. So this is something we all have, and it's just become the norm. It's kind of funny, right? Like when I started working, I didn't have a cell phone. I had a calling card like I could use from the company that I could use from a payphone. And now that's happened so quickly. So when people think about AI and the robots, to your earlier point, oh, that sounds like science fiction. If someone told you and I when we were in high school, you're going to have this little tiny like note card size thing that's going to do everything. It's going to be your Walkman. It's going to be your navigation tool. It's going to replace remember when you had the maps in the car with the highlighter?
Yeah, I remember.
My kids can't even comprehend that you had to like know where you were going. It's just wild.
I tell my kids about cassette players and CDs, and they're just like, what? That sounds Stone Age ridiculous. And I was like, when CDs came out, it was the biggest deal ever.
Oh
my car got a CD player. It was like I was in the space age.
Dude, I remember having an 8-track player in my first Cadillac coupe sedan DeVille. It was like a 79. It had an 8-track. When's the last time you even saw an 8-track tape?
It's been a minute, but we definitely had a collection of 8 tracks in the living room. My parents would get whatever the heck they were getting. My parents were so cute, man. They tried to make my brother and I more American, so they would like bring back random cassette tapes being like, listen to this, like this will help you. So that like might bring back Michael Jackson Thriller, which was great. Like that was dope. They bring back stuff like that, just be like, this will help you guys understand America. So
I have so much respect for your parents without even knowing them. I wanna just go back for a minute and talk about, like, did they move from China to the U.S.?
So they came over as students from Taiwan.
Okay.
Which, is a lovely place. I visited there last year. I'm a bit of a folk hero there too. It's nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. My nickname there was Pride of Taiwan. It was like sweet.
Dude, that's awesome. But the point I want to get to is like people don't think about moving even if they came as students, but moving as like a married couple or an adult to a foreign country where you're like very foreign, and now you're going to raise your kids in not necessarily a place that's like, oh my God, like if an American goes to like Taiwan or different parts of Europe and South America, they're like, oh, Americans are here, especially in
China. And there's an international school and you can chill, yeah.
But coming into a hostile place where people are kind of like, wow, they don't like you.
And your English isn't very good. Like, my dad's English.
So much respect.
Not so great. My mom's English actually came along a lot because she was more industrious than my dad on that front. But yeah, man, I appreciate and love my parents a great deal for taking the plunge, moving here, becoming immigrants. And the American dream worked out for my brother and me. And really the question is whether it's going to work out for your kids and mine.
Yeah.
And, that's like a very open question, unfortunately. We're right now, confidence in that is slipping.
No, but you know what I say? I have confidence in, like, I would never describe myself as arrogant, but I have confidence. And I'm like, guys, we're going to figure it out. Like, someone's going to win and someone's going to lose. And that's the American way. Is like, it's available for you. That's what I love about this country. And that's what pisses me off about the current climate is like, this is the best country in the world. You don't have to agree with all the policies, but you can essentially do anything here. I mean, you don't want to become a political activist and get targeted by the opposite party, but a person who isn't the average person, like, you can do anything. You can become anything. And if you have the resourcefulness and the intuition to apply to Ivy League schools and you don't have the money, it's funny, those Ivy League schools, you either have not enough money and they pay for everything, or you have a little too much money and now you're on the hook for the $100,000 a year. So it's like feast or famine. But if you show up at any of those schools and get accepted, they'll pay everything. Their endowment will cover everything.
Yeah, your story is incredibly inspirational, Ken. Certainly for me, running for president as an anonymous dude, and then making 7 presidential debates and raising
so awesome.
Tens of millions of dollars. I think you asked before. It's like, hey, how did you tackle the system? You know who I owe great debt is independent voices like yourself. Yeah. One of the single biggest activators for my presidential campaign was sitting with Joe Rogan in 2019.
Joe's the man.
Yeah. It was like a before Rogan and after Rogan in terms of the campaign.
That's right.
So, and by the way, that independent media landscape is 10 times stronger now than it even was in 2019. It's one reason why I think an independent campaign would do really well now.
This is what I love about the current times with social media. Gets a bad rap, but I'm like, to the person that was struggling to be an actor and having to deal with casting couch and this and that, now You have an idea, you think you're creative, put it on YouTube. I promise you, if it's good, they'll find you. Meaning the public. You don't need the system anymore. You don't need to go to a Hollywood studio and pander to a director. Make your own. The girl Issa Rae, who did the show Insecure on HBO, is the best example. She had a YouTube channel, like I think it was called Insecure Black Girl or something. She was just a creative, interesting girl, created enough content, enough buzz. Now she's got a show on HBO. She's won acting awards, but it's like...
You know, there's another example of that, and I have a chapter on him in my book because he and I are friendly, is Shane Gillis. So
I love Shane Gillis.
He gets quote unquote fired or canceled.
Good.
Ends up just going out there, making a lot of internet content too. But then just shines on his own and has become so successful that SNL brings him back to host, much less be one of the random cast members. So to your point about, America still being a place where you can make it happen. I mean,
yeah.
Certainly you and I know folks who resemble that. And I mean, we are that.
Yeah.
So at the same time, I'm someone who wants to try and make it work for more people. And as a numbers guy, I can see one of my jokes, but it's kind of true, unfortunately. It's like, you shouldn't have to be remarkable to have like a good life here in America. And unfortunately, I think it's becoming more and more the norm, where it's like, you have to kind of have to be an outlier.
Remarkable might be a bit strong, because I think if you're super aggressive, disciplined, like you can make a lot of noise for yourself financially and professionally, like if you have the right mindset and the right attitude to show up and work hard. It's trying to figure out which road to get on to start grinding. And a lot of times people are like, I want all those things. I just don't have the guidance or the wherewithal to know which. I don't want to go 10 miles down this road and realize I've just wasted all my time working for someone else. Because I always say, you're either working on making your own dreams come true or someone else's. And wasting your time working in a dead-end job, like you need to have the kind of EQ to be like, this guy's just using me for free labor, like versus, no, this guy's mentoring me and I can see a path to like leadership if you're working for someone else. But this system is set up for people that work for themselves. Look at the tax situation, everything.
It's much more owner friendly.
Whether it's my training, recovery, or work, it all depends on how I fuel myself. That's why I love Athletic Brewing Company, the nation's leading non-alcoholic brewery. Launched back in 2018, they've completely shattered expectations for how great non-alcoholic brews can taste. The stuff genuinely tastes awesome, and their NA brews aren't just for the sober. This is truly great near beer. Whether you're not drinking for a round, a day, a month, or forever, with over 25 styles brewed each year, Athletic Brewing has got something for everyone. Personally, I love the Run Wild IPA and Athletic Light. They've become part of my routine. No hangover, no compromise. So whether you're looking to buy online or in person, go to athleticbrewing.com. If you're buying online, use promo code RIDEOUT for 25% off your first order. That's athleticbrewing.com, code RIDEOUT. Athletic Brewing Company, fit for all times.
When you decided to run for president, how much money did you raise, and how did you find campaign managers and stuff like that? Explain to me the early process.
Well, I would love to, and I write about this a little bit, Ken, but check it out. There are only 2 rules to run for president. Do you know what they are?
Born in the
natural born U.S. citizen. That's right.
Natural born and
35 years or older.
Oh, I was gonna say age, but then I was like, clearly it's not about being too old, because we'll elect a dead person. But
yeah. No, you got it. I mean, they should have put a upper limit. they didn't though.
There should be. I mean, why do we have people in their 80s making decisions for people in their 20s? Like in 80, you've had a good run, man, but it's almost over. No one's getting out of here.
I totally agree. So as you can tell, just about anyone technically can run for president, and thousands of people do every cycle, because in order to run for president, all you have to do is submit one sheet of paper saying I'm running for president. Then the next threshold is if you raise $10,000 or more, then you have to file paperwork with the FEC, which the vast majority of these people who file the one sheet don't do. So in my case, when I run, I assemble this tiny little ragtag band of folks who sign up to be my campaign manager and my comms person and my social media person. So we're maybe like 5 or 6 of us. It's like a little startup at first. First announce, does not take the world by storm. Don't raise that much money. I put in a bit of money myself, and then we just started grinding. And then fast forward to 2020, and we've raised $40 million, made 7 presidential debate stages.
Did you have
rallies of
lobbyists on
thousands.
your team? Did you have PAC money?
So what's funny is, generally speaking, no. But what's funny is when you get into the 8 figures, when we raised 10 million or so, the consultants freaking come out of the woodwork, just like, hey, you know, we're here to film your ads. We're here to do your media strategy. We're here to this. And so, yeah, for a fee. They're like, you know, parasites. But you do need someone to film the ads and like buy the media time. And, you know, you don't have experience doing that in Iowa or New Hampshire or wherever you're doing this. So you have to sift through the consultants and figure out, okay, which of these people is not a joker, which of these people like da-da-da. And, you know, and so you end up hiring some of the vendors. And we did have a pack of folks who just tried to raise a lot of money for the campaign. I'll give you an example. So Dave Chappelle ended up supporting my campaign.
I love Dave Chappelle. I'm at a Jake Paul fight with Dustin Poirier.
Fuck yeah. So Dave ended up doing shows for the campaign.
Oh, wow.
In Iowa, and just donated all the money to the PAC, because what happened was that was like a lot of money. And there's like, there's an individual contribution limit to the campaign directly of, let's call it 3,000 a head. So because David just raised 6 figures or whatever, he was like, hey, it goes to the PAC. So we had a PAC on that level, which is just, you know, a political action committee that was not coordinating with the campaign, that was buying ad time.
Yeah.
So we had that sort of thing, but that was still just grassroots donors.
Okay, so you do all that, like fast forward to now, you getting on you're like, hey, Andrew, you're good. You're on the debate stage with now
Me,
you're
Joe Biden.
Now you're in the race. Like, to me, that's when you see the person on stage with the other people, you're like, those are the candidates. Someone just being like, I'm running is like, okay.
Obviously, who never going to hear that.
What was that like? How nerve-wracking? How'd you prepare? And for people that don't know, real quick, your background prior to this, you were a tech entrepreneur and you had an exit.
Yeah.
So you had enough money to like
take
fund
the
some
first
of this
stages,
and not work and focus on the campaign. So, okay, talk me through the campaign. Like, I'm so intrigued by this. Like, were you nervous like the way I think you would be nervous?
I did not know what it was going to be like. I should have been more nervous, sort of. And so what I mean by this is that it took me one debate to figure out what the debates were.
Yeah.
Which is they're not debates at all.
Right.
They're competitive theater performances.
Yes.
And you're there with 9 other actors who all have lines that they want to get out, and teams that rely upon them, and moderators that have a particular agenda and set of goals. So at first I was like, what is going on here? But then after one debate, it's like, okay. And by the way, one of the things that clicked for me, and I can't remember if this is in the book, but after the first debate, my team was like, all right, we're going to hire a consultant to prepare you for TV debates, which was not something I wanted to do or the team wanted to do. But the team was like, screw it. Like, we're going to give it a shot. So then I sit with the debate, like the prep trainer type. Yeah. And then he asks a sample question, like, what do you think about sex education? And I was like, that's a bullshit question. I would never get that question. Like, that's not real. And then he said, no, Bernie Sanders got that question in 2016. And I was like, he did? Then like, let me see the answer. So they bring up the video of him answering the question. And it's 60 seconds of Bernie Sanders just being like, sex education is very important and different communities feel this and that. And he didn't say he didn't answer the question.
It's so frustrating as a viewer when they don't answer the question.
But it didn't answer the question for 60 seconds. And that's when a light bulb went off in my head. I was like, oh, like, so what you're supposed to do in that case is just blather and wait until the time is up.
Blather, but then the thing that's even more frustrating is I'm like, yeah, sex education. Let me tell you though about universal basic income, how we can do this and do that. I'm like, that has nothing to do with the price of tea in China. Like,
dude, and so that was what the prep training was pretend to answer the question. And then pivot to your talking points.
You didn't need to pay the consultant. I could have looked at that and been like, here's what you got to do.
No, you're right. I should have paid you. So
I would have done it for free.
So then when you come to the debate, then post preparation,
yeah,
it's okay. Here are the let's call it 5 things that you're going to want to get out regardless of what they ask you. And then here are some things you can use to, pivot to your talking points. And when you realize that's what everyone's doing, you're like, oh, now I see it in everyone's behavior and answers and the rest of it. So that was a process. And the biggest thing was that it was the 4th or 5th debate where I just gave money away during my intro because the team was the team was like, this debate's going to be a snooze. Everyone's going to change the channel. If you do anything, it should be in your intro. And I was like, well, then what should I do? And it's like, oh, like this campaign's about giving money away. Let's just give some money away. And, and so that was the kind of thing that we would sit around and talk about. Like before the debate, it's like, what do you want to do this debate?
Oh, cool. There's so many things that and I'm embarrassed that I don't remember all the specifics of the debate.
No one does. Don't worry about it.
But I do remember being like, I like this guy. Of all these candidates, that's my guy. And I just felt like, unfortunately, with our system, I just felt like there's no way he can win. But it's so frustrating because that's the guy. Like he should be, he's more qualified than a lot of people. He's built a business, had an exit. And I remember this math.
Make Americans think harder. Americans think harder. Didn't work.
No, but it was awesome. Like it to me, it like resonated. And I was like, okay, this guy's like different. And not just like a stuffed suit up there talking the same nonsense. It's so incredibly frustrating. I'm actually interviewing my friend Sean O'Brien in the next 2 weeks, the national president of the Teamsters. And it's just crazy to think, like, we went to high school together. He's like, to our earlier point, he's like a regular guy like you and I. He was like a crazy kid in high school where I'd be like, oh, Sean's here if everyone's drinking. I'm like, but he was like an inner city tough kid. But that was who I grew up with. So now to see him on a national stage speaking at the Republican convention, the Democratic convention when they have him, and listening to the candidates come and pander to them is crazy. And you know that he tells this story. It's not any secret information, but that Kamala Harris came to see him and was like, basically like, she has, X amount of minutes for you guys. Most people come in and they're like, guys, what do you need? Anything. Totally. And she was like, her campaign was like, same with Rogan, like, here's what you can ask. Here's what we're doing. And he was like, no, we're not agreeing to any of this. And she came in and she said to him famously, we're going to win with or without you. So you better get on board. And like, it basically veiled threats, which you see all the time. Like Susan Rice on Netflix just said, wait until we get the White House back. There's going to be payback for a lot of the stuff that's going on. And people like, remember Trump was like, what are we doing? These are like, you're on a board. You're not a politician. You're on a board of a public company. You can't talk about like political payback. It's just, again, not to beat a dead horse, but it's all this same like retribution, divisiveness. We're going to get you when we get a chance. But the interview with the Teamsters will be cool because no one is more involved. I mean, I'm sure you know from the campaign, and I have a bunch of wealthy real estate friends that have interactions with politicians. When you own an entire zip code in Queens, for instance, you need to know all the politicians. And some of the stories are just like, how can someone be that unintelligent and corrupt to demand some of the things that they've demanded? It's madness. I wouldn't even repeat them, but it's like, that those things are happening, and it's just,
I can't imagine approaching Sean and the Teamsters without being deferential, because like those dudes are, it's like an army of freaking tough roughneck truckers, and then the person who represents them. I mean, geez, like
forget love. I do love. There is something that's like very almost patriotic about workers getting together and being like, listen, we want to be treated fairly. However, I do think that some of these unions, and I don't want to say which ones because I'll be canceled and like destroyed in the comments, but some of these unions and their demands and the things that they're doing that are publicly funded, I'm like,
I ended up getting crossways with the teachers union.
I was just going to say, you're here to teach. You're not here to like dictate political policy on things. Like, why is the head of the teachers union in Ukraine or making international trips? Like, run your damn job. Do your job.
I mean, I was endorsed by the police captains union and the firefighters union here in New York, and hanging out with those guys was one of the proudest moments of my life, really. And just like feeling like I was their guy. It's like, oh, dope. I mean, because these guys are literally run into burning buildings or like risk their lives. So I'm generally really pro-union, but then that at least some of them sometimes have had their own interests as opposed to like the interest of the public.
Yeah. And for the record, like I love teachers. I think teachers do an incredible.
Same. We have kids.
Being a good teacher is a hard job. The ones that care, like I have 4 kids, I can see the teachers that care and I can see the teachers that are checked out.
Same.
But it's the union leadership, not teachers, the union leadership that irks me. I'm just like, why are you at political campaigns screaming and yelling and being like super one side or the other? Like you represent Republicans and Democrats, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, no, I mean, we all see it, man. I mean, I'm a parent. I love good teachers. But then every once in a while you can sense there's like an institutional interest that isn't necessarily lined up with what goes on in classrooms.
And I know we're on a tight schedule here, but before I go, I want to talk a little bit more about Noble Mobile. What was the when you first conceived of it and went and reached out to the carriers?
Yeah.
Obviously, you went with T-Mobile, but were you met with any resistance or hesitation from any of them? Like, get out of here! I don't need your help.
This requires a little bit of background. Check it out. So I was a Verizon customer for a long time. So and when I joined Verizon, they were quote unquote the best network, and they were the best network here in New York. There was a real quality difference, but then somewhere over the last 25 years, like the networks all went to 5G and are essentially equivalent and parity. And so I was spending money on something that just wasn't applicable anymore. So when you talk about the different carriers now, in my view, both Verizon and AT&T have become kind of stodgy legacy carriers, and they're dividend stocks. Like Verizon's paying 6.5%, AT&T's
like a utility
paying 4%.
at this point.
They're utilities. They're cash transfer devices. And T-Mobile still feels like they're growing, like that, they're trying things. And so we got a much better hearing with them. And then the deal we got with them, when the rubber hit the road, Ken, I was like, okay, if they give us a deal that's good enough where we can pass that deal along to Americans and still build a fine business, like, it's freaking go time.
Yeah.
So that was like the major launching point. And the resistance we get from people is like, how can this be possible? And when I answer, it's like, look, it's possible because we're simply getting gouged.
Yeah.
People look at it and be like, wait a minute, I can get unlimited data for whatever the number is, like, $40, $42 less in many cases. It's like, yes. And I know this in part because like I was the first customer. I switched from Verizon to Noble. And even for me, even knowing everything I know, I was like, is my shit going to work?
Of course. That was my biggest concern. I've had AT&T since I've had a cell phone, the same exact phone number. And I was telling you when I met you, I'm like, if you offered me $100, I wouldn't change.
No.
Like if you said your phone's free, I would be like, I don't want to change. But when I understood what was going on, I was like, this is crazy. I'm just afraid to like do the transfer. Once I did the transfer and it kicked in, I was like, nothing on my phone changed. I'm not like, one wasn't like, oh my God, this service is great. But I noticed I have like an extra $50 for every line in my house at a minimum.
Yeah,
and I was like, am I stupid? And you know what it did? It made me go home and look at my DirecTV bill, $350 a month. And I usually get 1 or 2 pay-per-view fights for like $70 a month, which is another crazy price gouge. And I realized $300 to $400 every single month on AT&T. And by the way, I had YouTube TV because I was like, I need redundancy in case this one goes down because it's a satellite. I got rid of it. No one in my house missed a beat. I don't miss having DirecTV. I have YouTube TV and like the HBO and like 10 different subscriptions, which probably comes to the same price. But I love not being beholden to the customer service at AT&T for DirecTV or the cell service was deplorable. It was like, I can't believe this exists.
You end up in a labyrinth, and you can tell that, one of their strategies is like, maybe if
Wear you down.
Yeah, if we make this difficult, maybe it'll just, go go away. But same phone number, you just connect to a different network, and then you realize, like, wait a minute. So even for me, I was like, is my shit going to work? And then when you realize your shit does work, to your point, Ken, you're like, oh my God, like a weight lifts. And you're like, what else can I change?
Exactly.
What other bill can I re-examine and actually get an appropriate value for?
The price that I was paying for that DirecTV, my daughter's turning 16 in the summer, I'm leasing a full self-driving Tesla for her for the price, essentially like $100 more than I was paying for DirecTV.
Yes. As someone who's like a numbers guy and like a bit of a financial nerd or whatever, the thing you have to be vigilant on is like recurring expenses.
Exactly.
Because like you think, hey, $50 a month, no big deal. But it's like, wait a minute, you start doing the math at $600 a year, put an interest rate a little bit more, and then that just stacks. Like, and so if you can get a recurring bill down, it's like freaking money in your pocket all the time.
Especially if you have an ounce of discipline. You say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take that $400 every month and force myself to put it into like an ETF and leave it there. And then you see it compound and you're like, I cannot believe what would this look like in 5 years. I do it with my kids specifically for that reason. I'm like, do you want to buy? My son is obsessed with an electric bike. And I'm like, dude, it goes 40 miles an hour. You like have 2 left feet. I'm not going to give you a motorcycle. And like a kid died in the town that I'm in. Like, and I said, I'm just not doing it. I said, imagine if you took the $1,000 you want to spend of your own money and you bought this stock. Look at what it's done. And they're like, it resonates with them because then he's like, well, then I could buy 3 electric bikes. I'm like, that's not the point, dude. But parenting is a whole nother challenge.
Yeah, no, if you can get your kids to understand compounding and time value of money, I mean, like that's my passion, getting the numbers to work for someone. And then you have a sense of optimism, entrepreneurship, possibility, building. I've been in the opposite circumstance where it feels like the walls are closing in.
Yeah.
And then it's much, much harder to be optimistic about opportunities because you think, oh, shit could go wrong. And then like things start to get closed.
Shit can definitely go wrong, but guess what? It can also go right. And one of the things I tell my kids, and I also coached helped coach the local cross country team in Brentwood, Tennessee, and the girls were like state champs, regional champs, went to national. I mean,
amazing,
they were unbelievable. We trounced everyone. But I would always tell the kids, like, remember during this race, whatever you think, it's true. If you think you're hurting and you're not going to make it, like that's probably true. But if you also tell yourself everyone else is hurting and I'm just waiting to step on the gas, you don't even have to believe it. But if you can keep repeating it, occasionally it's going to go that way. So why waste your time talking negatively to yourself? And that goes with everything. It's like, yeah, $100 a month, no big deal. But if you take a second to be like, yeah, it is a big deal. The extra $600, I got 4 kids. They all got to go to college. Like I've got a lot of expenses. Every little bit matters. How do people sign up for Noble? What, like if you bump into someone on the street, in 2 seconds, how do I get on Noble?
Yeah, go to noblemobile.com. It takes typical person 5 to 10 minutes to switch. And Ken, I don't know if you have your own link, because if you do, you can send people there, maybe have it in the show notes.
I will put it in the show notes. I'll put a link up there and I'll also post it on Instagram.
Yeah, so we can make sure and give your people the best treatment. But shoot, man, like savings is only 5 to 10 minutes away. And we even have real life human beings there to pick up the phone.
Customer service there is the second to none. When I was there doing it, I mean, I happened to be in the office, but they were like, do this, do that, click that, boom, done.
Yeah, we thought you can't be the human carrier without employing real life humans. Yeah. So it costs a little bit more. But hey, it'll pay off for the business. I think people even listening to this, you can sense that. I'm all about adopting new technologies, but I'm also kind of old school.
Yeah. And do you talk about some of your investors? I know some of them are online.
Oh, yeah. So Scott Galloway was one of the first investors.
And I highlight that just to say, like, these are like people that I professionally respect and appreciate their thoughts on topics like finance, etc. But that's the only reason I want to mention is like, it's not like, a bunch of influencers. These are like real thought leaders in the business space. So keep going. I'm sorry.
No, of course. Scott Galloway, a venture capital firm called Corazon Capital that's based in LA and Chicago. A private equity guy, like entrepreneurship, org, another couple funds. So we did like the real thing, and I could have raised money from just angels and people that I knew, but I said, you know what, let's get some pros on the cap table so that people know that there's someone diligencing like our carrier documents and everything else. It's like reassuring for people.
For sure. And everything's closed with the chief happiness officer, right?
Yeah.
So Arthur Brooks, Dr. Arthur Brooks.
This is true. Arthur Brooks is an investor, literally the nation's happiness guru.
Yeah.
Harvard professor, teaches the most popular class in the country on how to be happy. You probably saw his column.
The unofficial chief happiness officer at Noble Mobile.
The unofficial
Dr.
chief
Brooks.
happiness, doctor. We're going to be doing a lot with Arthur. He's a truly wise human. It's freaking awesome to be working with him and with you. I mean, you're like a role model to so many, Ken.
I will tell you this, like, all bullshit aside, like, I don't promote anything that I don't genuinely believe in. I'm lucky in my life that I have what so many super rich people don't have, and that's enough. I definitely need to make more money. I'm far from like what I would call rich, but I have enough, and I don't do things that I don't want to do. I'm not doing things out of necessity at this stage in my life. I'm doing things that I genuinely love, and I would never promote a product or invest in a product that I didn't believe in wholeheartedly. I think what you're doing is changing like the landscape for a lot of people, and really, Arthur Brooks is the perfect investor and partner for a company that's trying to make you happier. Because if you don't think your phone is detracting and deterring you from happiness, like, you're lying to yourself. Give it up for a month, or give it up for a week.
1 week.
I went to a place called On-Site Workshops that was like inpatient intensive psychotherapy week, like voluntary thing, like the Hoffman Institute or Bridges. A lot of people have gone there, and it's just intensive one-on-one therapy for like 5 days. But one of the things that you do is leave your phone. And Lance Armstrong has spoken publicly about going there. He was saying to me, yeah, when I left, I didn't even want my phone back. I was like, I was having withdrawals from the phone, but I promise you, I was so much more engaged. When I had a free minute, like at my house in the evening, I would, if you don't have the phone, I'm out like clowning with the kids. Like, I'm a big teaser with the kids. So they'll be watching TV and I'll just come over and like start harassing them. And they'll be like, leave me alone. And then now we've taken all the remotes from the TV during the week. So there's no TV, there's no screens. And they're like, this is crazy. Our friends this, that, friends that. I said, I'm not worried about it, your friends. Up until the last few years, no one had these distractions.
Yeah.
Get good grades, and here's the system in our house. Like, get these grades, you have this much time a week. But until you prove to me that you can handle that responsibility, because right now you've shown me with these distractions, these things are suffering. When you're 18, you can make your own decisions, but for now, you're going to do things the way I say. And we're old school that way.
No, dude, every study has shown that you're in the right, and your kids will appreciate it later, 100%.
I try and tell them, I'm like, I have very rational conversations with them. I said, do you think that I'm telling you not to watch TV because I'm a jerk? Because I want what's wrong for you. You don't have to know what I know, but I've been doing this for 50 years longer than you have. I know. And eventually, like, as they're getting older, they're starting to realize that the little ones still are a little bit.
I mean, the thing that's the most worrisome, and what's funny in my household, it's like if we have them watch like a movie from beginning to end, it's like a victory now. Yes. Because it means their attention span's long enough. That the thing that we have to be vigilant about is if they have an iPad or a smartphone, worst of all, social media, they shouldn't be on that stuff.
That's right.
A little bit older, but where it's constant feedback. Particularly social feedback, like that's the stuff that really makes them anxious and depressed and unable to concentrate. It's sort of funny because like when you and I were growing up, it's like, oh, too much TV will rot your brain. At this point, I'd be like, oh, I'd be grateful if they watch TV, especially TV sports. If I could get you to watch TV sports, it's like a freaking victory.
That's the only thing. That's the only thing. If we're like doing family stuff and there's on the weekends, I'll put on sports and the kids will be like, I thought we weren't watching TV. I said the Bruins are playing or the Celtics are playing or the Patriots. I'm like, we're watching these games. But I don't think a lot of parents appreciate it. But I also think that there's a level of laziness with some parents that are like, oh, they're driving me crazy.
Dude, it's so much easier.
Give them the iPad and
the screen will sedate them and then you can sedate yourself and everyone's chill. It's easier, but it teaches the kids the wrong lessons cognitively. It's just like, hey, shut your brain now.
But you're also open to predators. You would never think this would happen to you. So my son, he's 14, in 8th grade, and he's playing lacrosse. And I was telling him, like, look at what these people are doing on like Roblox and stuff. Guys, like, I sit them all down. I'm like, no girls are coming to approach you in the chat on Roblox
same thing.
And asking for nudes, because they're like asking these kids for pics and then they're extorting them. I said, no one is ever going to ask you for any of that. And if someone ever did, you come and you tell me anything. I don't care what mistakes you make, But when you start trying to fix adult problems on your own, that's where you get in trouble. I always tell them, it's not the crime that you commit in this house. It's the lying. I don't want it. If I ask you, hey, did you do this? And you know you did it, I already know you know it did it too. That's why I'm asking. So my oldest son's like, I'm telling him all this. He goes, yeah, that happened to me. I go, what? He's like, yeah, this girl was DMing me, and at one point she was like, oh, I play lacrosse too. And he's like, oh, I play lacrosse. And she's like, yeah, I'm number 8 and he's number 8. And then he starts, thank God, he goes, Dad, then I realized like, this is way too coincidental. And he realized my avatar had a lacrosse picture with his number on it. I'm like, dude, do you see? Girls are not in chats trying to get nude photos from boys. You understand that, and vice versa. This is like, these are grown men, probably in another country. So that's the stuff that really scares me. Because you know, someone, you want an adult, a manipulative predator in a like chat room with your like young teen
Preteen,
child.
yeah, totally.
It's very dangerous. So I digress. But yeah, I think what you're doing is great. I know you've got to run. I just want to say thank you so much. I'm incredibly proud of you. I'm proud to be involved with Noble, and I'm proud to be your friend.
Ken, right back at you. Congrats on the awesome book and on being such an inspiration to so many, including me.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. In a lot of ways, it's just a survival story. You know, I'm literally doing the best I can, just trying to get through. And I'm so happy that the book is resonating. By the way, I pulled up I hadn't looked yesterday when I met my friend Raphael, who does like content for me. He goes, by the way, you know, your book is bestseller in Amazon. I was like, no, it just came out. It doesn't come out for a week. He's like, no, pull it up. And it literally has a red banner. #1 bestseller in running and jogging. In all of sports, #2 new releases.
Dude, congratulations.
Thank you, brother. It's like, I have some huge media coming up that hasn't been released yet. I did interviews with Nick Bear, Rich Roll, and I have Guardian article coming up. Like,
Love Rich.
Rich is my man. I've done it 3 times. I've done his show 3 times. He's been a guest on this podcast. He's a good man. Do you know him?
Not only do I know him, but it seems like he might be working with us on Normal.
Yeah, he said he was. I talked to him about it at length because I was talking to him about some of the different kind of deal structures he's put together. And I said, use me as a resource. One that I just did. And he's like, oh, I'm talking to him. I don't know if he said that he did it, but
we're in like the last stretch. But yeah, I like Rich a lot.
Oh, good. Well, I put in a good word for you. He was like excited about it. So
yeah,
thanks
in the Noble crew.
Yes. And again, if you haven't picked up a copy of the book, please do. Shameless plug. Everything You Want's on the Other Side of Hard, available for sale everywhere you buy books on March 10th. Be on the lookout. I'm going to do some live events in New York, LA, Miami, London, Boston. And who knows, at the New York event, you may be lucky enough to meet the great Andrew Yang.
Everything You Want, Other Side of Hard.
That's it. Boom. Thank you. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. Please take a quick minute to subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening. This is a new show, so subscribing makes a huge difference. Please also take a minute to give it a review and leave a comment on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. You can also subscribe and leave a comment on YouTube. Again, this is really important for us, especially now since we're just getting started. Please also check out all of our sponsors. They make the show possible, and honestly, I love and use every single product we talk about on the show. You can learn more about me, this podcast, and also find links to purchase my upcoming memoir at theothersideofhard.com. My new book is called Everything You Want Is on the Other Side of Hard, and it comes out March 10th, available everywhere you buy books. Or again, go into theothersideofhard.com. There's multiple links there where you can find all the retailers carrying the book. Thanks a lot for being with us, and we'll see you next week.